Thank you, Daniel, again for reaching out. That was fun to see your request after the Olympia. Yeah, my name is Amber Steffen. I started this journey about 10 years ago now, maybe 11 years, I guess, at this point, almost. At least in bodybuilding. I have been an athlete all my life. So growing up, definitely was from like 3 years old already doing flips off the couch. Like mother put me in, gymnastics. I was a dancer. I played golf, tennis, swim league, everything. She realized real fast I needed to get energy out. And so that's what kind of sparked the excitement for it and just being like a lifelong athlete. Um, my parents were super supportive of just, if you want to try it, try it. If you don't like it, then no problem. We'll move on to the next thing. But what really stuck with me was gymnastics and dance, and I loved those two sports. So I was full in on gymnastics, and that was really kind of my part of the, I guess, fitness journey. I used to go to summer camps out at like Bella Crowley's like Olympic gymnastics camps. I got to meet a whole bunch of the Olympic team members. That was really neat. So spending summers out there. But then even coming home and my mom wanted to learn how to play golf. And so she said, everyone is learning to play golf. And so we started learning, and I was doing the little junior PGA tournaments, and all of two of us would be out there, and I would take home second on repeat and just I played. Now I love to play all the time. I'm in like a mediocre golf league. I call it the old man's Sunday morning crew, and that's just the highlight of I love playing golf. It's a lifelong sport, and you meet so many really, really neat people along the way. They've also enjoyed kind of hearing about the bodybuilding fitness journey too, which has been fun. Even led me into some ideas of like long drive and trying to get out there and compete in those competitions. So I also have been working with like a swing coach on that, which has been fun. Won some different awards along the way. So I was like, let's figure this out, and actually have a lot of fitness girls in that too, which segued into I've met a few of them, at least online, and seeing that again, they still are very fit, they enjoy the experience, and it's kind of like another niche community. So that's kind of the whirl around of kind of the sport things, but it really has been like just going back to it. I got started in all this very young. I've always loved being an athlete. Um, and then, I don't share it very often, but my dad passed away when I was 8 years old of a heart attack. And so, although fitness has always been and like activity has always been something that just our family enjoyed and I specifically did, um, it was something that we didn't really take like the nutritional side very seriously, until his passing. And so then from there, it did have a shift in our family. And there was a huge focus on, okay, what does nutrition look like? What does our health look like? And so it was my mom, my sister, and I, and really kind of taking on that journey and figuring out how to monitor our health, how to be healthy, how to enjoy the things that you love, and just kind of treating fitness as like it's a lifestyle. It's something that you do for health, and trying to kind of, I guess, live on his legacy, but also enjoy life at the same time because that was something he really enjoyed. And so I kind of take both models. I don't share it often because it's something that I, it's something that, life happens, right, to everybody. But it's something that you learn and grow from. And I have appreciated the opportunity of the people that I met that stepped into my life along the way. My mother that helped raise me, my older sister that helped raise me, and then all of our family members and friends that stepped in. So it's kind of um, taking something that was a tragedy into how can you learn and grow and honor, him and grow as a person along the way. So that's kind of something that got and continued to spark that excitement for fitness, and then took it into middle school sport, high school sport, college, and I cheered in college at CUNF Austin. in Nacogdoches, Texas. And that's actually where I met my husband, Derek. He's downstairs right now. I hear him feeding the cats. Um, and we, love doing that together. And from there, I actually, after he had introduced me to bodybuilding. And so it was pretty neat that we went to the first show I went to was the Europa, the Dallas Europa in like 2014. And it was actually to watch a previous cheerleader compete in fitness there. And so I watched it literally, I think she was one of maybe two there competing, and I was hooked. I was like, I want to do this. This looks fun. So from there, went back to the gym. I had, always been training, but never like specific training for bodybuilding. And so Derek helped me, friends at the gym helped us, and then wound up getting my coach that actually cheered with my husband at University of Louisville, and I've had Mike the whole time. And we are a small little team of ex cheerleaders, I guess, that prepare for bodybuilding and fitness, and it's just something that after that I enjoyed what fitness created in that challenge of it filled my bucket of wanting to still compete, challenge your physique, challenge your skills. Even to this day, I'm 35 and I'm working on skills that I haven't done since I was back in college. And my tumbling looks better than it used to be. Like I was like, huh, who knew? Like the older you get, sometimes it looks even better. So it's just been like a fun process and growth. And it really just comes down to like the joy of that journey. And so that's where, yeah, I got into it, went to my first show, was the only one that showed up. So they were like, congrats, you won. So went on to nationals, won my height class at Junior Nats in 2015, and then did my first show in 16 at Wings of Strength Chicago. And I was quickly realized when you go first, and then you're like, oh, okay, here's, the big time, right? And so I'm up there with multiple Olympians and everything. And I was so excited for my routine and my physique, but recognizing you're the little fish in the big pond, you go from feeling like, oh, I've got this. And then you're like, okay, reality check. And and just coming from lifelong sports, everything is we look very objectively at things, even though it's subjective sport, right? And so it's just like, okay, are you proud of your physique? Are you proud of your routine? Or were there things in your routine that like it makes sense why you scored the way you did? And so just like always looking at it through that objective lens, but also recognizing there's always, the art to what does somebody like? It's a performance, being a gymnast, being a dancer, it always comes down to it's what the person watching or the people watching are also engaged in. What do they like? And so it's kind of that combination, but just being happy for yourself about it. So then after that, did a few shows in 16, 17, took a year off, did my graduate work and got my master's in education, became an assistant principal of elementary school, and did that for 4 years. During COVID, just decided, I wanted to look at a different lens of career development and try out some different things. And so moved into project coordination at a tech company, and have been doing that for over 2 years. Really enjoy this. Next step and in that process, I had done like powerlifting, and then got back into bodybuilding. And I was like, let me see what this is like again. Because I had done it back in 19, right before COVID. And it was fun, but it was a challenge during leading up to COVID. And then after that, I was like, I'm trying to make sure a school is happening, campus is, rolling forward. Like you can always come back to the stage. And in that process, I did do some powerlifting, and I'm tied with the state record for bench. Like it was like 187, and then squat, like hit 300, and deads was like not the same. It was like 267. So I was like really, excited. And I actually think that helped my physique when I came back 4 years later. I'd had time to mature, and then build up some muscle. And so then when I did come back just to do a show to prove to myself and got second, I was like, okay. And so then it kind of kicked off the wave of the next 2 years of um, qualifying for the Olympia and qualifying again for the Olympia, and just kind of that like the pie in the sky that you went, wow, like this is, the dreams are happening. So it was pretty cool. That was a long-winded response about how you got into fitness, but gives you a little bit of a lens of me. And
Are you a personal trainer, online fitness coach, or gym owner on the verge of burnout? Are you wanting to grow your fitness business but can't add more hours to your hectic schedule? Introducing Trainer Revenue Multiplier, the premier wealth creation system for fitness professionals that helps you earn more and work less. Visit www.trainerrevenuemultiplier.com today to schedule your free business accelerator session. If you're serious about taking your business to the next level, schedule your call today. You're talking about doing all these different sports and, you're very active and you want to be an athlete, things like that. But what was it about dance and gymnastics that those were the ones that stuck for you?
yeah, and thank you for letting me kind of go through that like wave of intro, because I think it did help kind of paint the picture of what you shared next. So yeah, really, I guess going back to your question of gymnastics and dance and why it stuck, right? Yeah, so it really just came down to I loved the ability of, although a team is a fun experience, I love that like at the end of the day, it's me putting the pressure on me. Um, so if I know that I didn't go practice as hard as I wanted to, or maybe I did go do and fully prepare and all the things to execute day of, I know it's in my control. And so I loved that, like, I'm not worried about somebody else. I know that I can put in my work and put in kind of the things that I know to be successful. But I also know that at the end of the day, if the result's not what I'm looking for, then it's also only me to blame. And I feel like you can grow as a person in that process of that individual piece. So, like, same with even golf. It was hard being young and I feel like appreciating golf, but into now, if the round isn't going the way that I want it to, it's really only me to fix, and obviously, like, you can't help if something ricochets off of a tree and lands behind you. Like, that's just sometimes the golf gods are doing it, but as we like to blame them. But at the end of the day, like, I know I haven't practiced enough. That's on me. Um, Now in dance, you're usually with a team. I did solos, but I also had a team. And so I did enjoy that part. Same with cheer. I enjoyed having a team. But I appreciated having the mix of the individual to help, I feel like, grow internally and externally, and then still having team aspects to understand like how to work together in that way. Um, but yeah, but dance and gymnastics resonated with just like the individuality. I really like choreography, creating kind of that like artist work. I think it's always resonated with me. I think it's a really fun idea process. Even before I became an assistant principal, I was a cheerleading coach at the middle school, and I never hired outside people to help us do any. I mean, we didn't compete, but we did like pep rallies and things. And I always made our dances. I always did our formations, our stunt sequences. Because that's a fun thing for me. I visualize it in my head and I'm going. And the same with fitness. I love creating routines. It's my favorite thing. And then I love working with my husband on it because he was a college cheerleading coach as well, and obviously cheered in college too, and ran NCAA camps. And so like he has that lens of choreography and kind of what components to hit and everything. And so it really just comes back to the individual growth, and then being able to express yourself.
On that cheer side, when and why did you kind of want to go that route? Is it kind of like a natural route, or did it seem like a natural route for you? What is there kind of a benefit to doing it outside of like does it add additional value to gymnastics or to cheer, or to dance rather? I mean, it seems like it's almost like a combination of both of those things?
Yeah. So in Texas, we didn't have gymnastics. We only had one high school that had gymnastics for like school sport. It was all outside. And so I knew going into high school, I was like, well, gymnastics is out. I also, being an objective person, I knew my skill set was not there to hit like high school and then college level gymnastics. So I already was like, all right, if that dream is like out, I had actually already started diving in high school, freshman year. We did have a diving team, but we had to travel down to the UT campus since I'm in Austin. And so we'd go there, which was super cool because I did get to meet like the coach we had was training the Olympians for diving. Like it was the newest tech facility. We had like the 10-meter diving boards, like all the bubbles. We had the feedback things. Like I even went to Orlando to one summer camp for diving that had like belts over the water. It was like I was getting really prepared to potentially do this in college. But some injuries happened and I wound up getting shoulder surgery senior year. And after having that, rehabbing, like everything rehabbed right, but it kind of made me evaluate and go, do I want to do this in college? And then I also was looking at their parameters and seeing like realistically, like I haven't done enough 3-meter diving and they do high school was only the low 1 meter, and then college was moving up to 3 meter and then some platforms. And I was like, I either go all in and try to get in, or I've always been interested in like I did high school cheer too. So again, with that athlete thing, I did high school cheer, diving, and golf. I filled all of the things. And I did dance and because we were a fine arts academy school too. So I was in 4 sports and then the 4 core, active like academics. But did diving. And when I found out kind of that wasn't my thing, I was still in cheer and doing well because it had cheerleading really, like you mentioned, has the segue of gymnastics and dance. It is that marriage of it. A little bit less on the like fluid dance part, but definitely dance component for all of it. And so when I realized the diving dream was kind of out, I was like, what schools will scholarship for cheer potentially? Or what schools would I be interested in? So as I started to apply, I kept hearing about SFA, and SFA was like the top tier program, and it was the hardest cheer program to get into. We were on like an 11-year streak of a legacy of winning. Like it was, it's top. And same with Louisville, and so there I was like, I really want to try there. I went to some of the camps to try to see if I could learn the skills, and then I'd come back and work with my coaches and everything. And then went to tryouts and wound up making the team. And so then that was kind of from there. But yeah, the gymnastics and dance really segued into cheer well. Gymnastics obviously segued into diving well, which diving actually helped me in cheerleading too, because when we did baskets, I was the only person that could do a front double full, and like no one was doing front flipping things. And so that was fun. But yeah, there was like all 4 kind of have some type of touch points in it, which also made then when I went into fitness, it was like literally mixing everything together, where I have, the sharp motions of a cheerleader, then I have the fluidity of a dancer, and then I have the technical difficulty of the gymnastics. So it like, that's what also made fitness feel like this fits every component.
That's
So,
crazy. 4 sports and school. I mean, obviously
yeah.
you weren't too big on, just laying around and chilling out.
No, yeah, thankful for an A-B schedule where it was like, all right, I have cheer this day, diving this day, golf this day. Basically, once it hit like the last block of the day, I was in my car driving to some off-campus sport, and I wasn't upset about it. It was pretty fun.
What was it other than that fun that really drew you into, just doing those things on an athletic level? I mean, you say you really, love being an athlete, and that's something that you kind of aspire to be on all these different levels. But what have you ever thought about, like what it was that really drove you to want to reach like, because there's a difference in like, all right, I'm gonna go and like be a YMCA basketball rec league kind of person, or I'm gonna join like a sand volleyball league at my neighborhood, or I'm gonna golf on the weekends occasionally. Like, there's a difference in that and doing four sports in high school, and then college cheerleading, and then doing bodybuilding and getting to the Olympia stage. Like, that takes obviously a different level of commitment and a different level of um like drive and want to achieve. So have you ever really thought about like what makes you just want to do that? What pushes you to do that?
Yeah, and I have thought about it. I do think it just comes back to ever since I was young, it's I love the routine. I love the excitement that you can literally walk away from every practice, every workout, and it's always about the lens of like, how do you choose to look at it, right? Um, and I go, even if it was like a challenge, I go, it was a challenge that got me better. Um, I've learned so many different things about myself and things that I thought I would have stopped. But I chose to do one more, or I chose to, take a breath for a second and go, all right, how can I look at this differently? And it then produced where I am today, where it's like, it was even back to my college cheerleading coach. She would say like, hey, you can mark this routine, or like, you just kind of like do the motions of this, or you can go full out on sections, you decide. Well, that decision was made of I'm going full out, because I know if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all in. Um, and it's just knowing that you prepare and you practice to be prepared for the actual event. Um, and just going back to it, I think it really is. I think it's not the typical answer, but I have just always had so much fun. I mean, like you mentioned, it really is just, I would went to gymnastics for the first time, and I came home and I was doing flips off the couch. Like, I was doing splits in the living room. I was sliding down the stairs. Like, it was just all the things. First time I went out to Crowley's camp, I was too young. And I was crying, trying to leave. And he was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And they're trying to give me like camp swag, and just being like, "Take it, it's okay." And my mom was like, "No, she wants to come." And he was like, "Well, how old are you?" And I said I was, at the time, I think I was like 6 and you had to be 7, or I was 5 and you had to be 7. And he goes, "You know what? You come back with your sister next year, we take you early." And so I got to go to camp a year earlier than everybody else because I was just so excited. Um, so I think it really just like, when it comes down to it, I know it's competing at high levels, but I love the ability to get better, to continue to push yourself, and the excitement in the process. Even to this day, I mean, went to the Olympia, and there was a calm and like a fun backstage. It was, you practiced and prepared. This is another day in the office, essentially. You've done all the work and like enjoyed this, you know? So I think it's why do it if you don't enjoy it? And so I go back to each of those sports. I enjoyed them for the time that they were. And if you're going to do it, put your heart in it. So my heart just happens to fall into quite a few sports at the same time, which also doesn't make me like, I mean, I can be, obviously bodybuilding like a top level. But it is a struggle sometimes when you go to the golf course and you're not top level, and like trying to have reality checks with yourself. So I do also have that internal struggle sometimes where I'm like, remember, you are good at this sport. You're getting better at this sport. Like, it's okay. You can't be pro at it all. So
Are you a personal trainer who wants to scale and grow your business online? Have you been coaching online for years, yet don't know how to incorporate online into your current business model? Introducing Trainer Revenue Multiplier, the premier wealth creation system for fitness professionals that helps you earn more and work less. Visit www.trainerrevenuemultiplier.com today to schedule your free business accelerator session. If you're serious about taking your business to the next level, schedule your call today. There's a big push these days for kids to go specialize so young and so early on from doing so many different things. And you talked about how it all tied together and it kind of made you better. Who would think diving, would make you better at cheerleading, right? But, you have
Yeah.
all these different opportunities and these different challenges, and you moved your body. And, I think that obviously doing anything is going to have an injury risk, but it reduces the overuse injury and it reduces the mental fatigue of I got to go do this practice again for the, eighth year in a row kind of thing. So it's really interesting the route you took and the success you had versus kind of the common route that's out there today.
Yeah, and I actually, to your same kind of breath about that, I have from coaching, there would be girls in middle school that are in the A team or select teams for volleyball. And then it goes into the middle school team getting their selections. And it was made up of the entire select team. So it was like anyone that wasn't already in select, you're already behind. And I was like, they're in middle school. So I feel you on that one because I mean, I didn't have that where it was that struggle. It was just try it all and see, even to golf, I being a female golfer, I made varsity because I was a female golfer. Like there just weren't many, and so like now I'll look at teams that come out to the course for their practice in the afternoon. I'm like, you've got 10 girls on the team and all of you are good. Like you're all playing well. Like it, so it's the tables have definitely shifted. So I'm like glad for when I had my opportunity. But it also was that like once I hit the talks started sophomore year and then junior year, it was like my parents sitting down with me and going, okay, you got to decide like what are we doing here? And I was like, okay, golf is out. And then I was like, but diving's in. And then shoulder surgery hit. And I was like, diving's out. We're still in cheer, and then the dance, I knew I was just enjoyment. I was just doing that as one of the side things that helped. And then I already had let go of the gymnastics. So it was like things pared down. And then, yeah, going off to college, it was just cheerleading. And then, yeah, finishing college, kind of just living life. And then it went back to golf and then fitness. So it was like gathering it all up again. It's funny when you go to nationals and you're like, this is the last time I'm ever going to do this skill. And then like 15 years later, you're like, and this skill again is back. But it was fun. It was actually really, really fun to pull it out again. And a lot of times it's better. Just different tumbling that even no, 2 weeks ago, right before the Olympia, um, Derek and I hadn't stunted in years, like partner stunted and everything. And we threw some stunts and we both looked at each other like, yeah, let's do this again. So it kind of again, it almost goes back to that. Like if you're having fun, enjoy it. And that's what this should be. Like these are all just I joke that like bodybuilding is and golf is just the expensive hobbies. It's they are at the end of the day a hobby and a choice. And it consumes a lot of time, but it is fun. And it should be at least if you're gonna spend your time, spend your effort, spend your money, all the things. So
Yeah, that's funny. That's a funny perspective when it comes to specifically when you reach the highest level of something. It's uncommon. I think I've talked to a lot of bodybuilders who want to get to pro level and obviously the Olympia level, and it's like they devote so much time, effort, and energy, which obviously you have to do to some degree, but then it seems like it loses a little bit of that fun to it. It's like, where do you draw the line between your desire to, like, is the desire to win even going to be worth it if it's not fun?
right. That's what I've heard before too, where it's like the goal is so much to get to the end, like the end of the show, or like get to the show. Well, then you can't control result of a show. You can control everything leading up to it, but then the second you're on stage, it's out of your hands. And so if you're not enjoying the process to get there, that is truly like every day, day in, day out, you're social, you're emotional, all of those things. So it's if you're only focused on that 10 to sometimes 30 seconds, I mean, me, at least I get a 45 at prelims and a 2 minute, at finals. So I at least feel like I get some time. Then that's so much weighing on that it is sad when you hear people that aren't happy about it, that are going through it, struggling. And it's like, well, then why are you doing it? Because it is a choice. It's a great opportunity for people, but at the end of the day, it is a hobby. And if you're not enjoying the process, like bodybuilding should be enjoyment of the process. It's that growth and the excitement for it. So it does make me sad when people are feeling that way. And it's kind of times like that where you go like, maybe take a step back. Remember why you enjoy going to the gym. Like everyone has a day where you do a huff and puff in your car and you're like, all right, let's go, but like once you're in there, you're like, all right, let's push ourselves. It's not every workout's going to be fantastic, but like you're going to feel the workout, you're going to enjoy it, maybe turn on some tunes, figure it out. But at the end of the day, you're working to better yourself. Maybe you found a good community at your gym, and it just, it should be fun. It really, and that's where it is sad when the sight is lost of it. And I think that's where you see people start in, go really, really strong, and then they fizzle out really fast. And it's because the initial wasn't just learning to love bodybuilding. It was, let me come in to compete for a placement when that placement is never in your control. Yeah. And that's also like, that's just the subjectivity of a sport. And that's what that was gymnastics, that's cheerleading, that's dance, that's not golf. It's the ball gets in the hole or not, like, but diving, same thing. I mean, it's the least amount of splash, right? You're up and down, but it's super subjective too of like, well, I really liked that angle better, or liked this, or you went like this much higher, but it's still like kind of how do I want to score this? And they can still be really close versus like very finite answers. So I think since I've always been in sports that were subjective, it's always about learning to enjoy and appreciate you as a person in process. And then whatever the result is, excitement or learn and grow. Or sometimes it's take something with a grain of salt and go on to the next one because this is what you like, regardless of response, you put out your passion and excitement and be happy with it and go on to the next.
It's interesting how it can get away from people like that. But because you had this and obviously still continue to have this drive to be an athlete in college, was there ever a point where you feared that this climb over?
Yes. Because as you have probably quickly seen, my personality is kind of the doing quite a few things at once. And I don't know how to do the settling. I can blame my mother for that one because she's 74, 75. And she still is just go, 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 go. So even right now, like they're on a trip because she was home for a week and was like, nope, gone again. So I'll see you when I see you. I can barely keep up with her. She came to the Olympia and was just going the whole time. And they went to concerts. They did all the things. I was like, I need a nap. So I blame her for this, but no, in a good way, right? And she's my biggest cheerleader. I love it. But it was really, like you mentioned, yeah, I'm finished. So I did freshman, sophomore, junior year of college for cheer. And then senior year, I had to stop, not because I wanted to, it was my student teaching. Our practice times were at 6 a.m. and I had to be in a school 30 minutes away from my student teaching by 8. And that wasn't going to work with 2-hour practices. And my advisor set me down and was like, you have to choose. And I was like, well, I'm here for school. Sport is great, but I'm here to become a teacher. So ended at 3 years. It was hard to go watch nationals at the next year. And it was fun, but it was hard as a spectator when I was like, I literally can still do all these skills. So, but it was good. So we went and watched nationals. And then after that, graduated, got started in career and pretty quick. I joined some boot camps called like Camp Gladiator, and they were outside boot camps. And then they actually quickly started what was called CG Games, which was like a little bit of a merging of an endurance sport plus like CrossFit, but not as intense as CrossFit. I also did like Austin Fit Games, which was another kind of just different like agility tests, pull-ups, your climb, running. And I just did them because I wanted the competition. It was just like I want to get those feelings of the excitement, preparing for something. So I still kept finding and trying it. Did a Tough Mudder. Have you ever heard of Tough Mudders?
Yep.
Yeah. I took Derek along because there were walls you had to be like thrown over. And I was like, I need you to pitch me and my friend. And so he was just pitching us over walls. And it was 13 miles and there's like 13 different courses, right? So you get to stop like every mile. And they've got snacks along the way. And I look back and he's eating like literally like a buffet of the snacks. And I was like, no, we still have like 7 miles. So just imagine like a bodybuilder type trying to run a half marathon. Yeah, so I just was thankful for the getting pitched over the walls and all the stuff. So did that. That one ends with electrocution, and you're like going through like crawling in mud, and it literally was like electrocuting my neck, and that was not fun. He was pulling me out at the end. But it was fun to say, we did some like firefighter one with running through fire. So I kept seeking these like moments. And then that's when he mentioned the bodybuilding thing. And so then it was pretty quick after that. So that was about 2 years later, finding bodybuilding and then went like, I'm head over heels. Let me do this thing. And had so much fun in process. So kind of I say I never looked back, but then I took a break for a minute. But of course, even in that break, found powerlifting. So, I had to do a competition in that and then decided that, yeah, I was going to change careers, obviously not considering getting back to bodybuilding. So I then jumped on the golf thing and started this like after work Spark League and was honestly dominating at that too. So I was coming home winning the skins games. So that was fun. So yeah, it's I don't know how to not. And so I think if I like when I decide to be done with bodybuilding, um, it'll still be me doing golf because I know it's that longevity one. And that's where I'll look at some tournaments, I'll look at some long drive. I'll even do that still in process now, but that's the one I know like I can stick with to like 100 years old. Because it's a lifelong game. But I also love in that process, it's that internal excitement, disappointment, but like the thrill of you can have 15 holes that are terrible and you get one awesome putt or something and you're like, I'm in, let's go. And so, and just the people I've met, just so kind, so exciting. They're all happy for your growth. And so it's just, it honestly mirrors a lot of the people that I've met in bodybuilding. A lot of the Wings of Strength crew, my sponsor, Redcon One, they've been in my corner the whole time. Like, I mean, from last year, like since Olympia, but everyone that I've met in bodybuilding to fitness girls, Adela, Missy, Linda, Alex, like they just genuine good people that have found joy in the sport as well. And so I think I just like either I'm gravitating towards them or they're gravitating towards me. It's just like that energy of um, finding why you do this because it should be fun and seeing that their joy in this too and the way they take it in different avenues of finding that joy in the sport. And yeah, I think it's kind of that way. But yeah, it's I have had the fears of what's next, but I quickly fill them with other things of what's next. So I've got my lifelong plan.
Seems like that is golf in a nutshell. Just that like constant, when is the, even at the pro, like highest levels, like you see it all
Yeah.
the time with collapses, like crazy, like they have it in the bag or, they got to just, they're three strokes up with one hole and they blow. Like it's just crazy how that psychological burden isn't just like because I'm just starting out. It's like everybody is going through the same thing in golf, it feels like.
Oh, and that's the awesome part about it is like,
This podcast is sponsored by Smoking Gun Coffee, a veteran-owned coffee company that strives to give back to those in need. Don't forget to use code TWR10 for a 10% discount at checkout.
I'll play with scratch golfers that will help me along the way. But there's been times where we're like 5 holes in and we're tied up. And like I've also come to rounds where I'm almost at the end and I'll usually have a blow up on the last hole because I'm all excited about being like, I'm gonna beat you today. And they're like, mm-hmm. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, never mind, you know. But it also can be to the point of like, I did one tournament where it was with my mediocre league at our home course, and all four of us were in different groups and we all have different handicaps. We all play very different games. We ended with the identical scores that day. And we were just like, what happened? Like, so it's just it's really it's fun. Like it's a very addictive sport when you get into it, if you find the joy in the process. There are many a days where I am like mid round going like, you're an adult, do not cry, but you feel it. But you also are like, okay, this is only golf. If the worst problem you have right now is trying to get a ball into a hole, life is fine, you know? But it's also a game of honesty. Like, really, you shouldn't be cheating in golf. Like, you talk about breakfast balls and stuff like that, but like, it is the truest form, I feel like, of any sport where if it moves a blade of grass, then that's a penalty. Like, and you have to own it. And so I again love that, like, the truth in it. And just knowing that the people you meet, you have like 2% of golfers that are just like kind of schmucks, but the rest are like really just because of that, you have some good hearted people. So, and they're funny. They're really funny.
See, I don't think I've mastered myself to that degree, that emotional competitive degree to where I could go out there and be like on hole, I don't know, like deep enough into where it's like I feel like I've committed, but I don't want to like throw it all away. Like if I was on maybe like 12 or something or 11, to the point where
Yeah.
I'm almost done, but I'm deep enough in. Like if I were to just have like a meltdown at that point, I don't think I've mastered myself enough to be like, just keep going. Like it's going to be okay. I would have like the Happy Gilmore meltdowns. I would be
Yeah.
like, I would be the worst in that situation. So I don't know. And maybe
And we
I hate
we have
doing
made fun in those moments. I've
it.
had a friend or two throw a club and it went like barely to my tee box because I'll still play like the front tees. And I'll be like, oh man, like at least I'm gonna hit further than you. And they're just like, rah, rah, rah. But then 5 minutes later, like, all right, fine, fine.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It is. There are times where I literally have got like the ball cap down and I'm just like, get it together. Like or I just throw a comment of like, I literally my first round after the Olympia had been about a month off and I hit a really bad shot and I just looked at the group and I said, I'm ninth in the world in bodybuilding. Just want to share that right now. This is why I suck, And they're like, okay.
Just got to continue to validate yourself in some way,
Yeah,
right? It's like, all right,
yeah,
I know I might have sucked just now, but I am good at something.
yeah. And it was common, and they all laughed too. They were like, "Oh, okay, we get it, we get it." And then I hit like a really good shot, and I was like, "But I also play golf, guys." And I was like, "I'm glad you could see that." And they were like, "Yeah, we're glad we could see that too." So it's the banter that makes it fun. Like half the time I go home and I'm like, it was 5 hours with people that I maybe just met and we literally just talked about golf the whole time and just like joked. Like, I don't even know what their jobs are. Really don't even know. Half the time you're like, you forget someone's name, but you know that it was fun.
Talking about being the ninth best in the world, like I guess even before achieving that, what was that like to even have that experience to step on that stage and not just step on the stage, but just be a part of the event and the all the events that kind of like lead up to the main, being on the Olympia stage, just specifically this year, what was that this experience like for you?
Man, this second one was I knew I was like, I want to get to the 60th. This just I had never been to Vegas. And so I also like we had opportunities to go to Vegas, but um Derek and I kept holding on to like, man, if you ever qualify for the Olympia, like how fun would it be for it to be your first time, for Olympia, for Vegas, like the whole thing. And I was like, yes, let's keep holding, especially when I qualified for it last year in Orlando. And I was like, I think I make this happen. Like I wanna give it a run. And so yeah, leading up to the second one, um, I'd done 4 shows this season. So it was like one in June and got third at Adela's, then Body B won like 2 weeks later, got second, and then Atlanta got second, Tampa got first. So it was like June to August competing. So it was a long season. Um, but was so thrilled when it happened in Tampa. I hadn't done Tampa since like 2016. So it was also fun when I did that, then and then to return. It was literally at the same venue, but even bigger and better. And seeing Tim Gardner there and being like, man, this feels like deja vu, like 2016 to 2024. And it's like literally the same space. And he was like, yeah, I'm glad you're back. It was really fun. And we got to know him through the years and his family. But after that, it was like, it just felt so good getting ready for it. And then heading into the 60th, I mean, the moment you get like the packet in your email of this is your competition packet, here's everything we'll be providing, seeing your name on there, like congratulations, seeing the 60th, it was like the coolest thing. You get like the chills. You're like, I got my packet. And then going leading up to it, just the different social media things that they were putting out of all the events that were going to be there, to even just like flying in. They have, the sphere and you can see it flying in, and then you can see like the Resorts World. And once we got there, they had so many special touches everywhere for the Olympia. Like it was just, Orlando, they had special touches at like the hotel and convention space, but this one, it was like the whole weekend had people up on like the screens, like even just further down the street at different places, or we'd go in somewhere and they're like, oh, are you guys with the Olympia? And it was funny going to like, we went to a few places and or like elevator rides, and um obviously like I wear baggy clothes and I'm a smaller person, and um people in the elevator are like, hey man, you competing, like to my husband, and he's like, oh no, but she is. And they'd be like, oh, or like we would be sitting at the Pepper Mill and it was like a diner, and one of the waitresses was like, hey, are you competing? And then she goes, oh, and you look like you could too, and like laughed, and I was like, I am, like so it's just kind of funny, and just the bantering, right? But it was just kind of made the weekend like a haha. My parents showed up on that Thursday. The Meet the Olympians was really fun. I had an interview there, with Wings of Strength. And then, yeah, going to all of the events just leading up was really, really cool. Check-ins, they made super special. I'm actually on the Olympia trading cards now, so that was really cool. I've never had that opportunity. And so, yeah, Gloria over there actually is mailing me some of mine, so I get to see what like those cards look like. And then just, I mean, they even have down to every division has an athlete representative. And so we had someone to help us the whole time with, I don't know if you met her, but Becca Sizemore, she helps run a lot of the productions, for Meets a String for, she even just ran her National Fit show. And she also was a fitness pro as well. And so she helped all the fitness girls, making sure we had everything we needed. All the fitness girls were great. We are trying to pair up for Ubers for tanning, all the things. So like it just, you get there and it becomes, at least for the fitness division, like very much of a unit. Everyone was in a WhatsApp talking together, trying to make sure everyone had what they needed. What I love so much about this second time is being able to help girls that it was their first time to the Olympia and answer any questions that they had, and just opening that door of like, hey, I'm happy to help. Anything you want to ask, anything you're thinking of, not thinking of, here are some things that from my first Olympia, that I wish I had known. Because for the one in Orlando, I reached out to many of the veteran fitness girls and said, what's one thing you wish you had known for the Olympia? What's something that's super cool? I don't, you want me to not forget about? And then just what about the experience of the weekend do you wish I could take away from? And just kind of getting their lens of it. And it was fun seeing things of like, make sure to take it in. Like when you get on to warm ups on that stage, since we get to do that for finals, like stop, look around, and just like take in the experience, which was really cool because you turn around, you see all the jumbotrons and like the Olympia and the fogs going. And at warm ups, Phil Heath came out. That was cool, and he was out there just like, they were filming a documentary thing, but it was really cool to see him, and just kind of that whole experience of like taking in that you're here, and then even down to like your name card, like from athlete check-ins. Take that with you. Like, have those little memorabilia moments. So that was fun for me to take into the second Olympia to remember, but also to share with girls that it was their first time there, and being able to like see their excitement made me excited as well. It was like you can see it's the feeling of like the Cinderella. Like I felt the Cinderella moments like last time, and then this time it was fun to watch others experience. But then it was almost like I had them again because it was a new venue, a new experience, the 60th.
Mhm.
Um, and so I felt like the whole time my face just hurt. Like it was just my cheeks were like excited. And it felt first one felt like the nerves because it was almost out of body experience performing because I literally about 10 seconds into my routine, I was like, I'm on the Olympia stage. This is happening. Am I still moving? Like it was like out of body. And but I was still moving. But like it was weird. I even watched my video and go like, that was that moment where I went like, we're here. This is my music is on. I am going. But then this year, it was like a straight calm. Um, it was like I got on stage, it felt homey, like it felt like this was just my place to be and I'm having a good time. And so I I liked both experiences very differently. And then yeah, I felt like this one it was just the I'm here and this is fun and yeah, it was they did such a good job of taking care of us, of making it feel special and it's fun the whole weekend, even afterwards. They had a gala on the rooftop the Saturday night, and that was really neat. We watched finals from one of the like nightclubs on the big screens. That was cool. So it was like no stone was left unturned. So it was really, really neat.
What's the outlook for you?
I mean, 2 years ago, it was the like, I'll do a one and done just to do this to prove to myself. But this, I mean, obviously the wave kicked off and I always had two buckets that I very much wanted to achieve. Um I, in the time off and everything, or just time away from stage kind of thing, I wasn't sure if Olympia was going to be one of those, goals I could check off. And realistically, like that is the 1% of the 1%. Like it was always that if it happened, that would be fantastic. But I also just happy with the process. And when it did happen and then happened again, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is awesome. And just to be top three on repeat, returning to shows. It just like that's so I'm so thankful and that things are well received from physique to routine and being able to showcase that. But the other bucket was I have never done an Arnold. And so I put in my application and we'll see if that happens for 25. And I wanted to have my resume kind of look as good as I could as an athlete. And so having those top threes and going to the Olympia twice and things, I feel like it has presented itself in a good light. And so we'll see if, that's an opportunity I am provided with, this year. And if not, then I'll definitely kind of assess what shows I want to do and figure out the season. And I'll still, after Arnold, figure that out too. But I plan to keep going for a while and kind of keep going till I haven't really decided yet. But I do know Arnold is in my next sights of an opportunity. If it's not this year, maybe into the next year. And then another Olympia qualification would be fantastic. So it's just kind of doing the like baby steps of just like seeing what happens first for potential Arnold and then kind of seeing what comes out in the schedule for next season. Will be kind of the next steps from there, but definitely not going anywhere. Just it's hard to put like a stamp on it. I think what I've enjoyed is coming back, and I feel like it's not even coming back. I've been back, but just being in this. I am continuing to watch my creativity with choreography and my husband and I's partnership with the choreography of the fitness routines grow. And I think it will be like until that kind of fizzles where I feel like I don't have any more artistic ideas, like things like that. If that starts to feel like it's just going flat, then maybe I would like start to assess at that point. But for the time being, we literally were at the cheer gym last week throwing down just different ideas and combinations. And I'd be like, call a skill, call the next one. And it was like, it felt like from Bring It On, where they're like, do a cartwheel, back handspring, step out, lay out, like full twisting, layout. He would just call things and I would do it. And it was just kind of to like get the creative like juices going. And then we were making up combos and it was really fun. And like literally our practices at the cheer gym, there are a time or two where, you go through a little bit of emotions, but most of the time it's us giggling about something. It's, doing something and then being like, does that look good? And watching his face be like, or like, oh yes, that's fine, but it's typically just as long as again, like I shared, I have that joy, the excitement, and even back to the shows, it's like little mini reunions at this point. Like I feel like I'm meeting up with friends. And so I think that's where you're seeing that from the fitness girls too. It's like our little reunions. And we've all done the work. And because every single routine is so different, it's hard to be like, I am against you. It's like, no, I want you to do the best that you can do. I'll do the best I can do. And then whatever's decided. But we want the best from each other because at the end of the day, it's just like the Olympics. You want everyone to be on their A game so that when you place where you place, it was like the best placement. Um, and that's the best we can ask for. So like if someone doesn't perform the best they wanted to, or someone gets hurt, like we all feel it because we're going like, we wanted you to be your best, and it hurts for us because we're like, we didn't want to win because of this, or I didn't want to place better than you because you didn't land a skill. I wanted to place better because you rocked it, I rocked it, and they scored me better or they scored me worse. It's kind of one of those.
Are they doing like the announcements any earlier this year? Do you know, because the Olympia was a little bit earlier?
Cutoff is December 1st. So then they usually spend a few weeks in between there. So I imagine like by January 1st, we'll know. So usually gives you about 8 weeks to prepare, kind of stay in that limbo, but then also go a little off season, but also like continue to practice. And that's kind of the part for fitness too, is like you have to continue to practice your skills. Because it's not one where you do, okay, my 12-week prep and I practice all my skills during that time. And then 8 months later, I'll do this again. It's like, no, you'll feel the soreness, you'll feel all the things. So I think that's also with returning, like being in year 2 and going, this just kind of feels like this is my day in, day out, which has also made it like nice. Because I've figured out like how I want to recover and like just kind of that process of taking care of yourself versus like when I would do multiple months off at a time, I'd come back and I'd be like, all right, I need all these massages lined up because like my body's aching. But now it's like, okay, how can you like during the week take care of yourself and make sure that you've got everything where you're ready for a practice maybe every other week, or where you can just throw down some skills in like the small section of the gym or something like that, and just continue to keep up those activities has been so helpful in that process, which also makes it where it's fun because then it's like I'm constantly working on some like different tweaks and combos versus going, okay, 8 months from now, like let me stretch this out and hope for the best.
Right. Or maybe a little bit more uncertainty in that versus
Yeah.
staying a bit on top of things.
Yeah. So that's made it where you just kind of feel that like year-round athlete mode. And I like where it just keeps you mobile, flexible, all the things. And we bought Derek got me compression boots. Do you know what those are?
I've heard of them. Yeah, but what do they actually do?
They help with blood flow, and like
Okay.
it feels like you're wearing literally all over your legs one of those like blood pressure cuffs. And it has been like my saving grace for my legs, like when it comes to just doing cardio and tumbling and anything. But yeah, Derek got those for me for my birthday, and then like this like same company, like their back massager and like heating thing. And I was like, all right, I look like an Oompa Loompa, but I've got all my things on. And it's been so helpful for recovery. So I think it's just like it's another lens of health that we just take advantage now of, like, okay, stretching out and like doing compression sleeves and like getting a massage more than once every 4 months or something like that, and just kind of taking care of yourself in that lens. because in college we would do ice baths and heating pads and a lot of icy hot, and like it was the college level of like, and Tylenol's, Tylenol's still in there, but it was kind of we'll just make it work. We were also younger, and I could fall on my face during a tumbling pass and still get up and do totally fine, versus now where I'm like, let me go ice that ankle and I'll come right back. Like, see you tomorrow.
Managing it a little bit differently.
A little bit differently. I want to believe it's a little smarter this time. So
Best of luck once again with moving
thank
forward in
you.
the sport, and with the Arnold, and next year, hopefully getting back to the Olympia for a third time.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And thank you for asking me to come on. This has really been fun. Thank you for letting me kind of segue it in different places and talk some golf. It's another passion of mine. So I appreciate getting to add it in, and thank you for asking questions about it too. Thank you for also supporting fitness. It's a division that's small, but we have a lot of passion and excitement for the sport. So thank you again for having a lot of us on. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. If you want to share anything before we head out, any like social media or any ways people can connect with you, you can go ahead and do that.
Sure. My Instagram is musclecats. We have 6 cats at our house, and obviously they are the musclecats. And so you can follow me there. I also I guess, yeah, Facebook's just my name, Amber Steffen, but really don't have any other channels. I do my sponsor, Redcon One. They great products, put out some new things recently. Definitely all things pumpkin and fall flavored. So check them out. We actually every Monday, the team, I submit a fitness challenge and they try it out. And then anyone that, if you're on my social media and you see the day at Redcon One, feel free to send me your video of the trial, or even Redcon One of you trying the fitness challenge, and we repost it to the stories too. So it's a fun way to engage with the community, and I always have fun either incorporating Derek in it or doing it myself, and just again living that fitness lifestyle of it's for everybody, and it's fun and finding joy and either being able to do it or not, and kind of the giggles that come along the way. The office always has a good laugh about it. So I try to find some fun ones, but that's kind of how you can find me. I post things fitness related, golf. I like really bad dad jokes. So I usually do stuff like that. So if you're looking for some laughter, yeah, give it a follow.
If you're tired of searching for a coach or trainer, somebody who knows what they're talking about and has experience, make sure you go check out the new Coach's Corner on weightroompodcast.com. You can find quality, qualified coaches to help you achieve your goals, whether that's in bodybuilding or just general fitness. Stop wasting time and start achieving your goals today. The link to the Coach's Corner is down in the description below.